Why does everybody want to be great? Can you be greater than you already are? My answer is no. Welcome back to another episode of My Three Cents.
We have only 35 chambers. There is no 36.
I know that. But I want to create a new chamber.
And what would that be?
I think Shaolin techniques should be available to all. So that's my idea for a new chamber. To teach the martial arts to the people. Anybody.
You already are your best. You are you now. So if you already are your best, how do you get better? You change into the version of yourself that's more elevated, your higher self, if you will. This is why we use the term elevated. It's your higher self, right? The higher form of. The same reason you want to be better is also the reason you're not. If you can figure out that riddle, you can unlock this whole thing for yourself. So my first key would be self-reflection. I would first suggest to reflect on self. Ask yourself, who do you think you are? Really? Who do you really think you are? Think about that. Not who do you think people think you are, but more so who do you think you are? How do you see yourself? Most times when people say they want to be better, greater than they already are, you're dealing with somebody that has a poor self-reflection, right? They don't see happiness within themselves when they look at themselves. They're still trying to figure out what they see. Start by reflecting within, asking yourself, what do you really think about yourself? Be honest. And once you recognize your happiness within, you can see what that looks like and feels like for you, because we're all different. So when we use words like better, great, we can't all be better or great. These are individualistic ideologies, right? These are personal endeavors. To be better, to be greater, these are personal endeavors. I'm talking about this because, as you know, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. I own a startup. I run it. And it's tough. It is tough work. You got to be resilient in ways that you never thought you'd have to. And you find yourself on this road, on this path to greatness that you didn't set out to get on. Because in the process, you have to become a more elevated version of yourself. And as that's happening, you are the best version of yourself in that moment, in each moment. So you have to define what greatness means to you. Ask yourself why you don't feel like you're great already. You see, because I think the bigger issue would be, why don't you see yourself as great already? Not the fact that you want to be great, but why don't you see yourself as great already? When you're on the path to success and trying to achieve something called greatness, it also comes with a lot of loss. You start to lose friends, family members, people that were close to you before will not necessarily stick by your side because you're doing something that's uncomfortable for them to witness, because it's the path less chosen. You know, when you're a creator, a creative type, an inventor, you're often ridiculed behind your back. People are ready to give up on you. And people don't really want to support you in the ways that you need their support. So these are all things that come with being on the path to greatness, right? You lose friends, they won't all understand what you're doing. People aren't going to get your why, but it's your why. It's not for them to get. That's what you got to understand throughout the process. Because remember, you want to be great. Somebody wants to be great that's listening to this. You think it's possible to become a better version of yourself, and I'm telling you it's not. And by the time I'm done with this short episode, you'll know why. So these are all conditions, right? Losing friends, losing people that were close to you, people that you trauma bonded with, that accepted you in your old position, but it was hard for them to imagine you in a new one, right? Because a lot of times when you're the ambitious one in your friend group, what you're doing is holding up a mirror to them, unbeknownst to you, and it's causing them to self-reflect, and it's making them feel less than, because here you are with these big dreams, goals, and aspirations. You're taking steps, you're doing things, you're getting traction. It's more than just a conversation. And a lot of times people can't be happy for you the way you would expect them to because they can't understand what you're doing. All right? It's your vision. So don't take that personal. When people don't support you, when people support you and then don't support you, whatever situation may arise, don't take the situations personal because these are all teachable moments in a process, and it has to happen this way. You have to become someone different. So when you realize that these are just conditions of a worse issue, which is belief outside of self, right? Because remember, you don't think you're great. That's why you want to be greater. You don't think you're at your best. That's why you want to be better. That's the real issue. There is no better to try to achieve. There is no greatness to try to get to. At some point, you may be able to look back and say, I was great, but this is after you have realized that you've been believing outside of yourself through other people 9 times out of 10. You're probably looking at yourself through the lens of other people. This is a form of judgment, right? You're judging yourself, but not understanding even what you're doing. Okay, so this is a bigger issue when you're on this thing and you want to be great, you want to be so much better. I think, again, the bigger issue is belief outside of self. So you got to reel that in, okay? Because what happens is how you believe in yourself becomes your echo chamber, right? Now you're stuck in an echo chamber of you. That's your life. That's the evidence, right? So whatever path you're on is a path based on your own actions and reactions. Your life is an echo chamber of self. Okay, so again, if you want to be better or greater, you're fighting yourself. You're not understanding that you are your best. To be what you call better, you would have to become another version of yourself, a more elevated version of yourself, right? It makes me think about food. And when you watch some of these cooking programs, they'll take a steak or whatever it is, and they'll say, okay, we'll take this, and here's a dish we traditionally make with this, right? Now make a more elevated version. Now that version is more appealing. People want it. It's made with the same ingredients, but it's more elevated. They've done some different things to it. They've taken better care throughout the process. Now it costs more. So that's just an example of elevation. Okay, so you have to think of yourself as that dish. Be a more elevated version of yourself. And later, or another episode, I can get into what that actually looks like. It's not hard. You don't need to sit around saying you want to be better than yourself and you want to be greater. Stop doing that. That's crazy. Because subconsciously you're putting yourself in a lesser than position. Okay, and you really got to realize that. You got to lock in. So when you put yourself in these echo chambers of you got to now understand that this is what manifestation is. Okay, your reality is created by you. You are experiencing what you have done so far. And that's why I say, if you want what you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. You have to be who you've never been. This is a concept you have to grasp because it'll stop you from trying to achieve a greatness that's nowhere. And it'll allow you to tap into yourself, realize that you are already manifesting your reality. You are the one creating and experiencing your reality simultaneously. It's you, right? That's why there is no better to pull from, right? You already are experiencing the totality of self. And I told you, your evidence is your life path. Whatever you got going on is the evidence that you are experiencing the totality of self. If you are alive, your life is reflective of your actions. That's it and that's all. You gave yourself this reality. If you're yearning for a different one, then be different. Okay? You cannot become different. Just be different. So again, to get what you never had, you have to do what you've never done. And in this process, you have to become who you've never been. Now, once you get into your new form, You're going to have new experiences. And what do I mean by your new form? It's when you started doing what you haven't done before. When you started saying what you haven't said before. These are things that will put you into a new form that will give you new experiences in the now. Now, if you take that moment and look backwards, you will then say, I am better than I used to be. I am greater than I used to be. So what I want you to understand is that when we're talking about better and greater, you have to put the word than on the back of greater. Greater than what? Better than what? It's subjective. So that's why these things have to continue to be personal missions, right? In the now. You have to remember that the only time that is real is now. The past is a memory. The future is a thought. The only thing real and concrete is now. Now is tethered to whatever other time you want to imagine, okay? So once you start being more in the now, present, fully present with everything you're doing, each task you're doing, be present. This is the better side. It's you, but more elevated. There are areas in your life where you're slacking that you know right now, I could be better here. I could be better there. I could eat better. I could work out more. I can do this with my kids more. I can do this with my spouse more. Come on, man. We all got places we can improve. So the whole being better and greater, that's an excuse and that's a cop-out. That's like saying you don't have what it takes and you're waiting for it to arrive. That's not true. It's each interaction, is each reaction that is causing the ripple of your life. Greatness is an idea at the end of the day. Greatness is a reason at best, but it's not a destination. You can't achieve it by wanting it. You achieve it by being it in the now. So do what you haven't done, say things that you haven't said, and be who you haven't been within your capacity. This is why I say it's not possible at the beginning. I stand on that. I stamp it. And it's just my 3 cents at the end of the day, right? So greatness is when you can be present and fully capture every moment as far as your actions and reactions are conscious. You know what you're doing and you accept what comes next. This has been another episode of My 3 Cents. A short one, but a good one. All right? So if you got something from it, please share and check out some other episodes. It's been another episode of My 3 Cents. I'm out.